Here's Johnny! We're going over the unique fire axe in New Vegas, where to get it, its stats, and just generally how good it is. And of course, is it worth it for that sweet dose of early game Powa? Knock Knock is very easy to miss if you're not a New Vegas nerd like me. It's very common, at least from what I've gathered online, that many people are unaware of this unique weapon's existence entirely. Found at Camp Searchlight inside the upstairs section of the firehouse station, located in a bathroom stall right alongside the typical Fallout skeleton we all know and love. Never give up, skeleton, never give up. Camp Searchlight does have a couple of hurdles, but it's nothing too crazy in obtaining. First, it's highly irradiated, being one of the few areas where radiation sickness actually poses a threat, meaning any rad resistance gear or Rad-X and Radaway go a long ways here. Secondly, you need the firehouse station key from Logan. And thirdly, you just have to Usain Bolt past the unique Rad Scorpion Queen inside of the firehouse station, or kill her if you can and if you're higher level. Getting to Camp Searchlight itself is very easy. Just take the typical loop route from Good Springs to Nipton. Then from Nipton to Wolfhorn Ranch, then simply follow down towards Camp Searchlight and boom, you're there. Once at Camp Searchlight, your first pit stop is the church cellar. This is where Logan, the angsty prospector, and his two chuds are residing. Kill him and take the key, or do the quest Wheel of Fortune, but I recommend just killing him outright. The quest itself is notoriously buggy for some, and it's been ages since I've actually done it, honestly, and I think Logan betrays you if I recall correctly, but I just kill him and snag the key. Then simply go to the firehouse station and be mindful of the fact that you're on a clock of sorts, especially if you're lacking any Radaway in terms of radiation sickness. Simply run past the Scorpion Queen or kill it, bolt upstairs, then grab thy loot in the form of Knock Knock. Fire axes in general are some of the best melee weapon bases in Fallout New Vegas. They deal good damage and DPS, they proc 30% off of the perk Super Slam, being a two-handed weapon of course, and are personally my kinda go-to weapons for dealing with some tough enemies in the game when running any sort of melee build. You can also get fire axes very early if you use the courier stash items like the mercenary grenade rifle to deal with the cazadors at the tribal raiding village, which has a bunch of I think they're dead cons with some fire axes to boot. To use Knock Knock efficiently, you need 75 melee weapons and 5 strength, so a bit high on the melee weapon skill side, but pretty reasonable to average and kind of low for a melee character of 5 strength, you know? It boasts a base damage of 66, 118 DPS with a critical hit damage of 33, a ×1 crit multiplier, 1.8 attack speed with a 21 AP VATS cost. It weighs 8 and has a 110 weapon durability. Compared to the standard fire axe, Knock Knock deals more damage, therefore overall higher DPS. More critical hit damage, costs a little less AP than the standard variant in VATS, all with the con of being less durable overall. It also has the Mauler VATS attack. This knocks down enemies, which is definitely one of the best melee weapon VATS attack. It's kind of like a built-in super slam, you know? And the Mauler's attack with Knock Knock can be done manually with a backward moving power attack. And in VATS, this requires 50 melee weapons to use, but you can manually do it even without 50 melee weapons. Another con for Knock Knock is obviously the lower overall durability. This kind of coincides with repairing it, as without jury rigging, it can be a relatively scarce resource to just kind of, find fire axes willy-nilly out and about, making this weapon more of a bread and butter damage dealer when facing dangerous enemies, rather than just, swinging it around at every cannon fodder creature you encounter in the wastes. And all of this really just leads to, is it worth straight out of Doc Mitchell's humble abode, then beelining straight for Camp Searchlight? Yeah, It is. It's not super easy to get, but it's not difficult either. And you will have to wait a little bit early game to squeeze the most damage with the 75 weapon skill requirement. I made a new character to just kind of show how easy it really is to grab overall, and this was on the hardest difficulty on hardcore mode. And I had no Radaway with only I think 2 Radexes, a mere shovel to kill Logan with, and even then it was really easy at level 2 to just get in and out as fast as possible with my booty in hand. It's a very solid weapon with a great moveset and just general feeling when striking enemies that just gets stronger and stronger as you get perks like Piercing Strike, Super Slam, Purifier, Slayer, and so on. It can easily take you throughout the entire game and is great even in the end game. It looks badass, being an obvious inspiration from The Shining with Here's Johnny, or some argue perhaps the axe from American Psycho, with the likelihood of both films being inspirations behind this silvery-headed jet black matte finished fire axe that is there when you need it the most, making this weapon a great addition to any melee character that wants that sweet dose of early game power. All that said, Fallout fans, like, comment, subscribe, and all of that good stuff, and I really do hope to see you in the next one.